Hello, everyone. For today's webinar, we will be talking about Hanoi, Vietnam. So a little about Vietnam's history. So in 111 BC, the Han Dynasty from China absorbed Vietnam into their empire. Vietnam would remain part of the Chinese Empire for over 1,000 years. It was in 1938 AD that Neo Kyokyun defeated the Chinese and gained independence for Vietnam. Vietnam was ruled by a succession of dynasties, including the Lai, Tran, and Lý dynasty. Under the Lý dynasty, the Kingdom of Vietnam reached its peak, expanding to the south and conquering a portion of the Khmer Empire. In 1858, the French came into Vietnam. In 1893, the French incorporated Vietnam into the French Indochina. France continued to rule until it was defeated by the communist forces led by Ho Chi Minh in 1954. The country became divided into communist North Vietnam and anti-communist South. The Vietnam War raged for years between the two countries, with the US supporting the South and communist countries supporting the North. The North eventually won, united the country under the communist rule in 1975. So for geography, Vietnam is a long, narrow nation shaped like the letter S. It is in Southeast Asia on the eastern edge of the peninsula, known as Indochina. Its neighbors do include China to the north and Laos and Cambodia to the west. The South China Sea lies to the east and the south. For climate and weather, Vietnam has both tropical climate zone and temperate climate zone, with all of the country experiencing the effects of the annual monsoon. Rainy seasons correspond to monsoon circulations, which bring heavy rainfall in the north and south from May to October, and in central regions from September to January. Hanoi has mean temperatures of 63 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 17 degrees Celsius, while the annual average temperature is 74 degrees Fahrenheit and 23 degrees Celsius. Some attractions of Vietnam: the Tran Quoc Pagoda, the oldest Buddhist temple in Hanoi. The Tran Quoc Pagoda was developed in the 6th century. Set on the island in the West Lake, you must first wander across an elegant bridge with the shimmering water below. From a distance, you can admire the 11-story stupa tower that stands at 15 meters in height, but only from up close can you appreciate the pagoda's finer details and see the Amitabha's Buddha statues found inside. Glistening gemstones are a common sight, strewn across various statues that add significance to an ancient and beautiful temple. Hanoi Opera House. Built during the French invasion, for the French, the Hanoi Opera House has undergone a modern revitalization. Since its renovation in 1997, the Hanoi Opera House has become a centerpiece of the city's art and culture scene. The building was inspired by the Paris Opera House and resides aptly with Hanoi's French Quarter. From the street, you can stand back and admire one of Hanoi's finest pieces of colonial architecture. Its elegant facade, complete with white columns that blend effortlessly with the cream walls. With consistent events, travelers can peel back the cultural curtain and enjoy a night of Vietnamese opera, regional dance, ballet, and live music. The Ho Chi Minh Museum. Alongside the Ho Chi Minh Museum, the Ho Chi Minh Museum explores the life and times of Vietnam's most historic figure. There's no single person that has shaped modern-day Vietnam more than Uncle Ho, so understanding him goes a long way to understanding the country around you. Within the museum, you can enjoy exhibits that feature his personal effects, his life growing up, and the events that led to him rising to power. Alongside artifacts, you can watch various films that explore that era in more detail, lending voice and visuals to the experience. Afterwards, check out the surrounding grounds and the mausoleum set in the place Ho Chi Minh first established the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Train Street. Train Street, otherwise known as Transfer Road, exists in the Old Quarter and features a railway track set between rows of buildings. Locals caught on to the fascination and began serving drinks and treats on many tiny tables so locals and travelers alike could get one-of-a-kind shots. Due to safety, this ended in 2019, but as with other parts of Hanoi, you can find locals flaunting the laws come when no trains are scheduled to enjoy this unique setup. Then long imperial citadel. Over 1,000 years old, Hanoi has a rich and lengthy story to tell. At the heart of the Thang Long Imperial Citadel, a historic site that has been remarkably well preserved, a UNESCO a cultural heritage site. The Imperial Citadel has all the hallmarks of Uh, the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Imperial Citadel has all the hallmarks of historical architecture alongside cultural influences that remain easy to spot. Older than the city itself, the foundation of Thang Long Imperial Citadel dates back to the 7th century. Once a Chinese fortress, it soon became the nation's capital, where it has remained a vital piece to Vietnam's political and cultural landscape. So, Vietnam's cuisine. The national dish of Vietnam is pho. The word pho referring to the type of noodle used in the recipe. Flat rice noodles dance around the medium rare slivers of beef or boiled chicken in a hearty beef stock. The more popular of the two widely known varieties is pho Hanoi. Originally from the north, it is distinguished by a clear broth and dressed only by the squeeze of lemon and slices of birch eye chili. The southern iteration, pho nam, has a murkier broth and is served with a bouquet of fresh herbs like bean sprouts, basil, and mint. The secret to a good pho lies in the stock. The broth is usually infused with fragrant star anise, clove, and cinnamon to lend a natural sweetness to the mix. This dish is found on almost every street corner and is actually consumed for breakfast, unbeknownst to outsiders. Banh mi. Baguettes may have been adopted from the French, but banh mi is as Vietnamese as it comes. Pate and margarine are spread swiftly across the soft, chewy interior of a baguette, and later the sandwich is loaded with pickled vegetables, fresh cilantro, pork belly, pork floss, and cucumber. Sink your teeth into the crunchy crust and watch the warm roll give way to a whole scheme of textures. Com tam. Back in the day, Vietnamese farmers would eat the fractured rice grains they could not sell. Nowadays, broken rice is a food staple for everyday working-class citizen. For a meal of humble origins, the preparations of com tam can get very decadent. While it is prepared a number of ways, the most popular way is com tam son nhung opla, which is a fried egg is paired with caramelized grilled pork chop and laid out on a generous heap of broken rice. The dish is then slaughtered with nyuk cham, a mixture of chili, fish sauce, and sugar, and a drizzle of green onion oil. The final touches include a side of shredded pickled carrots and die-cut slices of cucumbers and tomatoes, and crushed fried pork rinds and shallots of garnish. Bon Bourriou. Representing the legendary royal cuisine of Hue, Bon Bourriou is a mighty demonstration of both beauty and taste. The alarmingly red broth is the first signal of its striking flavor. The results of hours spent simmering beef bones and stalks of lemongrass to produce a citrusy concoction. Mashed boiled vegetables paired with tender beef shanks give this dynamic affair add vivacity. This may be beef soup, the word bo in Vietnamese for beef, but don't be surprised when you see sausages lurking in the bowl. Cha lua is a sausage made of ham paste that has a texture similar to tofu. Goi kyun, an action-packed salad roll. Goi kyun is bursting at the seams with freshness. The semi-transparent skin is made with softened sheets of rice paper, encased with within it a stack of leafy greens, mint, coriander, some form of protein, and a stalk of garlic chive poking out with snugly wrapped roll. The most common variety of gochujang is surf and turf combo of pork tenderloin and shelled shrimp. The roll is either dunked in a bowl of nutty hoisin sauce or nyukchang. Shay Shay is a sweet dessert served either hot or cold and in the form of a pudding or dessert soup. Cold shay is built with jellied ingredients and tropical fruits such as bananas, mangoes, and longan, usually doused in coconut cream. Always a textural adventure, you may be surprised to encounter coconut shreds, crushed ice, lotus seed, and jellies in these syrupy snacks. The beautiful three-colored dessert, chebamu, is often called the rainbow dessert. This is layered spectacle fruit beans, mashed moonbeans, and pandan jelly, topped with crushed ice and coconut milk. Some fun facts about Vietnam. Vietnam is home to the largest cave in the world. Motorbikes are the main way of transportation. Vietnam is the second largest coffee exporter in the world. Vietnam has a population of 92 million, and it is the 14th largest country in the world. Thank you for visiting Vietnam.